Hello, you lovely lot. So, today we're going to have a quick chat about all things autumn.
Yes.
Weather's proper changed. It's horrible. We don't like it.
No.
Can we just end there?
I'm going back in my cave soon.
Mate, I think I'll come and join you actually.
Yeah.
But we can't snuggle.
Oh,
Social distancing and everything like that, Jay.
I'm going in the cave. Anyway, yes, that's what we're going to chat about. Anyway. What we sort of touched on the
Live feed, wasn't it?
The live feed this week.
Monday, Tuesday, yeah.
Yes, but just for everyone that hasn't seen, we're going to talk about that and go a little bit more into depth because we're out on the bank now, so we can show you stuff as well.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. So it's things like, you know, mud lines pretty much completely gone.
Yeah.
You know, that 2 foot and depth, 2 foot and less depth.
I think shallow's gone, Andrew.
Mate, right, so...
For F1s and carps.
Right, so again, coming back to it, shallow fishing never actually goes for like all things silvery, but yeah, you're right for carp and F1s.
I know what you're getting at.
I don't really want to sort of like give too much away because we've got a challenge to do later on, folks. But I actually coached on Jamie's peg yesterday, and we may or may not have caught quite a few carps and one shallow.
Oh, right, that he told me, just fishing 5 foot, Jay, it's solid.
Well,
So,
5 foot
anyway.
in, like 5.5 foot. But no, it's one of them. I think you've said it before. You said it on the live feed, Jay. It's 2 different matches at the minute, isn't it?
Yes.
You get the really hard sort of 2.5 hours, and then the really good sort of 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
don't
that's
you?
it. You've got to
It's nuts. It's
get
noticeable
ready for your
everywhere.
day, haven't you?
Yeah.
I mean, start off
definitely.
negative and don't do anything stupid at the start of your
Mate,
match.
you would have been well proud of me from like since last week. So what we're saying, last Tuesday it went proper cold.
Yeah.
I've been fishing Jamie style, folks. I've been putting in like 4.5 pellets,
Have you?
waiting 5 minutes, coming back, tapping another 3 in, and mate, has it been working?
Yeah.
It's the depth as well, though. We've gone down to like what we're saying, like 3 to 3.5 foot.
Yes. The
But-
slopes are more important now, aren't they?
Mate, slopes are everything, and it's
Yeah.
so important. We're going to talk you through a little bit later on with how important, obviously, markers wise as well. You know, literally lining up with a blade of grass,
Yes.
and then getting a wrapper tape on your pole and everything. We talked about loads of times before, but even now, you've got to be so accurate, and
Yeah,
it's so
more so.
important.
That's it, definitely more so now.
Yeah.
Once you're away from them far banks, say we're leading towards Snake Lakes because we're sat on more stay Snake Lakey type thing. But yeah, your accuracy has to improve in the winter or the autumn because they're still feeding, but there's tiny numbers of fish coming into your peg. So your footprint that we're always on about has got to be as small and as accurate as possible to ensure you get a bite because you've not got numbers of fish clearing you out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be perfect. So yeah, paying a bit more attention, let's say, to your plumbing, picking your, I mean, we can't show it, we're not going to go into that sort of thing, but picking your far bank markers as minuscule things.
Yeah.
And lining up with, I'm a big fan of my leg, aren't I, and things like that. Line up with the leg and my box, all that.
Said it, haven't we? Like,
Big difference,
yeah,
yeah.
something that doesn't move on your box rather than your hand. Pick a leg out that doesn't move, but it is literally a blade of grass.
Yeah.
And then it's weird, like, because like you get it overcast and you can pick your marker out, and then the sun will come out and you're like, where's my marker gone? Doesn't it do your head in that when you get that different shadow on it and all that?
It's bad light time nearly, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
That's
Mate.
That's another thing that's rubbish in the winter.
Rigs
It's
wise,
so
I found that obviously your traditional sort of Chianti style shaped floats are coming into play a lot more now rather than sort of like your bulbous body ones, you know, that you're using in shallow water.
Yeah.
412s, 410s floats are coming out now, whereas before you're like a little bit more positive. And
Do you think that's a lot to do with because the type of baits are changing? We're fishing a lot more maggots through the water and that now.
Macros and expanders, I used them for the first time since,
Did you?
well, I can't remember, parties last week, and that made a massive difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Little fruit shoot pots. Let me show you.
Oh,
So
yeah.
little tiny fruit shoot pots like them, you're getting on that, Rich. You know, that we talked about loads, but even like half filling them. A
Yeah.
full one was too much, you just get a few too many in your peg.
Does it?
So half fill one,
Something
you're like,
that
ding.
worth touching with pots that's a big thing for me is that the difference in how you, regardless of what pot you use, although you do want the smallest possible to put that pile in, is how you put your bait into the peg and how differently it ends up on the bottom. Yeah, the difference between, even when fishing hard pellets, 'cause I'm still doing quite a bit of hard pellet fishing, the difference between putting your pot to the water and tipping them in, they land on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 4 or 5 foot, whatever. Whereas if you sprinkle them in, it doubles the feed area, even though you're only this far off the water.
It's nuts.
Little things you can do to tighten them up a little bit.
Yeah.
Makes a big difference now, especially in that first half of the match when you're on 10 fish, let's say, is a target for the first 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
If you're not perfect, you don't catch 10, you catch 2.
100%.
Yeah, and that makes a difference at the end, doesn't it?
But
So,
then it's like the flip side of it, when it's like more sort of attacking fish, should we say, like F1s and all that. You know, I found just dipping your pot in, lifting it up sort of like, 8 or 10 inches, tapping it, so it does make a little bit of a noise. They're coming into that better as well.
but
You just got to, obviously that's all out on that on the day, isn't it?
Depends
You know
on
what I mean?
depth that as well, whether you can get away with it, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. One thing that is very noticeable though is, as I said, the fish will have a proper feed up at some point in the match. Now, for me, on lakes like this, I don't want to give too much away, folks, because I've got a challenge against them in a bit, but we're not fishing with the fish that we're going to be going after. It's like the lovely eyed or silverfish, and then the F1's coming in the deep water. So gone are the days where you can start off your match and start loose feeding to hopefully attract them shallow. It's all about potting it in every, what we're saying, 10 or 15 minutes, 40 or 50 maggots in, leaving it an hour or hour and a half, and then going on it. And now, float wise, mate, something like that, like a 4/16.
Yeah, your bristles have changed now, haven't they?
Oh, mate,
a lot more delicate bristles.
Gone from 2.5 mil or even 3 mil. Beast mode! So like these much finer ones, what you're saying that is 1.5, 1.7?
1.5 that.
1.5. Just getting straight down to the fish, you know, not sort of like lowering it in nice and tidy, just laying the rig in, bringing it back, putting your float over so it's settling straight away, because the fish is still have it. Certainly the silver's like the eye that there is in here. But then, as I said, coming into sort of like the last 2.5 hours of your session, it's noticeable that you're getting a lot of these liners, odd foul hooker, so then you can start loose feeding and they will quite happily come up. I'm not talking depths like, you know, they will in the summer, you know, them little tiny diamond floats that we use and all that, or the overshotted rig folks, you know what I mean? But these ones here, like 3 or 4 number 11, so it's falling lovely and slow through the water, like your traditional Chianti style of float. But that's set between 2 and 3 foot, mate.
That's been your sexy rig for recently.
It's shown you too much already, Jay. But yeah, it's just one of them things. It's working out obviously on the day, which you're massive for anyway, ain't you?
Yes, and cutting down on what you're going with them is making everything more sensitive and adding a bit more finesse into things, isn't it? That's so important now.
100%.
Just to show them the bite. We're fishing for potentially different fish.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not just after the big wobbly ones now, are we? We're after a bit of everything, a lot more silverfish coming into play.
They've not really had a feed up yet, have they? Them carps,
they
anywhere.
Need to, because they just et and et and et.
I think they have since.
They're like me in lockdown.
That's it. Since lockdown, they've been like, food, not seen it for ages, and they see the food and they're just on it, aren't they?
There's no need to feed up, is that they're done.
Oh yeah, 100%.
The little tanks. And
it's weird, like obviously line diameters as well. You know, my line diameters have changed as well. I fished Old 10 for the first time last week. So I've gone down from my main line. Main line's gone to 0.15 from.
Why'd you drop your main line?
Mate, I know in my head that it doesn't make a blind bit of difference.
No, it does. I think it does.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
I think it's that makes a difference, getting on that ridge. So that's my hook length.
Oh, without that, hook length's more important.
I don't know if it does or not.
Exactly what you've done. I go from, on my sexy rigs, it's not the right word, on my finesse rigs where I drop down to them 1.3s, 1.5 mil bristles.
Yeah.
I think 0.15 just makes them fish a little bit nicer. Doesn't it? Because you've not got the stiffness of 0.17 or 0.18 coming out the eye.
Yeah.
I think it makes them nicer in the wind for perfect presentation.
I mean, and I was a bit lazy the other day, and I had an 0.18 rig on, and it was raining, so I didn't want to change it. I was coaching as well. I didn't want to change it, but we put like an 0.10 up length on, and I was just like, no, I can't be doing with it. We were catching fish, we were getting bites, but I'm like, it's not right. So I put my 0.15 rig on, and it's just like, yeah, that's better. But it didn't make a blind bit of difference to catching the fish.
No.
But I can't not go to a lighter diameter mainline. Are you the same? I suppose it's natural water backgrounds, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That kind of thing,
and
toe
like,
and everything.
I just think it looks, depends what your rig wants to do, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For slow falling rigs, I think the heavier diameter
line,
helps.
The friction through the water.
Yeah, but just for your float looking sexy and your bristle not being. When we zoom in, we're lucky we get to zoom in with Rich's optical lens, telescope that he puts on. And it's mad with the thicker lines, you do see that movement in the float a lot more than you do with your delicate lines, which you only see on that, you don't see.
You don't see it when you're fishing, but then like when Rich zooms in on it, like presentation looks horrendous, but it still goes under, doesn't it? Well, yours still goes under.
They must be stupid then fish, don't they?
So yeah, a lot of fish in your tag.
I'll tell you another thing that's definitely for me that I've just started tying as well. Is hooks are changing, aren't they? We're using much lighter gauge wire now, definitely. You're not having the need, because it ties in with your elastic, something I had to speak about loads and loads and loads. It's matching your hook length and your elastic. Your main line's nearly irrelevant. You know what I mean?
I used 3 to 6s the other day for the first time in ages, and it was weird, like 28 pulls on it. Trying to get the fish back. No, not ready for that yet.
Pulling a bit too hard for that, But dropping down to your fine wire hooks.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Massive difference. And I've done that even with my hard pellets. Do you know what I mean? I'm fussing me. I use like 3 different types of hooks, and I've gone to me lightest ones. I've gone to them new ones, them MTX6 ones, which are the lightest gauge.
That's because that bottom few inches where it's falling just looks more natural.
Just looks nicer, yeah. Just looks nicer, and it's that. Not so much for when the second half of the match when I'm bagging.
Yeah.
It's that 10 fish at the start of the match.
Definitely.
Anything little that makes a difference in the harder bits. The harder bits are almost more important than the good bit of the fishing.
Yeah.
Because that's when you get ahead.
Yeah, you've got to really concentrate, and you probably get a headache from concentrating, folks, in that first sort of 2.5 hours of the match.
Yeah.
And then when they arrive, it's get ready time.
Yes.
And you can generally go a bit heavier, but I don't know, the fish aren't fighting as hard either, are they? Because obviously they're going colder.
I said that yesterday to fellas. In the 2 weeks they changed, haven't they? They've gone from rip your top kit off to right, I'm done now.
They're like hooking, they're like, oh, not again. If we were fish, you'd be like, oh, I'm in that net again. First fishing net every time. But it's exactly what they're like. You hook into them, they just sort of like wobble back towards you.
Yeah.
And then they're proper cold as well. They've gone really cold. They're like ice cubes, aren't they, already?
Yeah, they're a lot more dull ones, aren't they? But no, they're probably the key changes, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? Swap into the different baits, like you mentioned. Swap into a lot more live baits.
So they're still having hard pellets, aren't they? 4 mil hard pellets. Still having them.
They are, but you can't feed many. I think it fills them up quick.
Definitely.
Yeah, you've got to think about how much the fish are eating. That's why maggots are good. Maggots are soup.
Yeah.
I mean, they eat them and they're drinking them and they poo the skin right out, don't they?
Definitely.
Whereas pellets is like, an hard pellet's a steak in it. I mean, soft pellets, they can eat quite a few more. We've seen that in Steve's. When I've fed them in a tank, or when Steve's fed them in his tank in the cafe, you feed soft micros, they'll eat quite a few.
Yeah.
Hard pellets, they eat 1 or 2 and then they digest them.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
So they don't eat many of them before they get full up. So using that sort of bait to start with can be detrimental because they're
Cheers, Jay. I'm not going to put 40 in to start off with today. Yeah, have it!
Catties have to go in. That's another thing quickly before we wrap that one
Go
up.
on, mate.
That's nothing I find that makes a huge impact now, just as it does in the spring, is noise.
Noise.
I think it can work against you now. For the first time in the summer, I mean, in the summer they love it.
Yeah,
I mean, you whack the water,
noise.
they like it.
Definitely.
Now, they can do later on. I think noise at the start now spooks them instead. I mean, so getting your catty out too early, things like that.
Yeah, when that water starts to clear up and everything like that, especially on bright days like this.
Yeah.
100%, mate, for that.
You need to be careful in
But
the
then
noise
you get like the
making.
predatory fish, like those lovely hides and chub, and they'll still come for it.
Well, they're just greedy, aren't
not,
they?
Not F1s and carps, mate.
No.
You're on that, ain't you?
Yes, and definitely noise needs to be cut down. Say pretty much everything. All the basics, you just need to think about refining everything, don't you?
Elastic-wise as well, Joe, touch on it quickly. Dropping down in diameters and everything, yeah?
Pretty much, yeah. Just to suit all clients, like we said.
But not 3s to 6s yet, folks.
No, not 3s. Do you know, I swap it as well. I don't use any short kits now. I'm on just long kits in the winter.
Yeah, so yeah, it's weird. Like normally, like all your short kits is for like your summer shallow fishing or fishing across on Snake Lakes for them fast biting pesky F1s. But yeah, I can't use short kits. It's
you're
weird.
the same. You're like in the winter, you got a big one.
Yeah. Cheeky.
Just
But yeah, no, can't use them at all.
Makes you elastic. I think it's the smoothness of your elastic that's more important.
Yeah.
You can't have any angriness. You just got to have nice and smooth and guide things out your peg. And it's
16 pulls when you get it back, lift and net, innit, mate? Going to see it perfectly executed today, folks. Promise.
It is. But yeah, hopefully that's our sort of autumn breakdown of things that we look for, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll make a little bit of a change and catch a few more fish. Because it's hard enough.
You catch enough fish. I want to catch more
I've caught
fish.
nothing for months. I'm ready to go in the cave. The cave's prepped and ready.
Is it?
I'm going.
The man cave.
I'm
Is that
going.
it? You done till April?
I'm ready to close the curtain and stay in there. All right, I'll come out for these anyway.
Yeah. Okay, folks, so just briefly, please like, subscribe and comment on our channel. We love you a lot. Please love us back.